So it's weird. You mentioned this like 2 months ago out of nowhere where you're like, these solicitors, they keep coming to my house, these solicitors. And I was like, that's weird. Like, I'm trying to remember the last time. And I was like thinking back, like, oh yeah, last summer, every once in a while, a bug person or a pest person would cold call you, or a gutter person, like, oh, you need our gutter guards. Like, those were like the two big people that would come and find you. Tree removal people.
Windows, vinyl siding.
Yeah, I've never gotten a windows person. There's maybe one person last summer I got total. And in the past 2 weeks, I've gotten like 4 people, 5 people. And I am like, and I always try to like be, I know what it's like to be in, you're bothering someone or inconveniencing them. And like, so I don't want them to feel uncomfortable or bad or anything. And so I'm usually just like, I'm sorry. Like I want to save your time as much as mine. I'm not going to buy anything today. That I apologize for the inconvenience. Like, and then they just leave. But this guy today just like would not take no for an answer to where like he kept being like, yeah, pests, like, and he's like showing me pictures of all the pests they handle, and I'm like, that's great. I actually had a pest control problem last year, and I hired a termite company, and I have had 0 problems since they came, removed the termites, and then set up these traps outside my house. And he's like, what company did that? What brand? I'm like, you can read it on there if you want to bend down. I could not tell you. Like, but this is not a good time for me. I was in the middle of something. I'd been spending all morning on a project I needed done by early afternoon, and I needed it done. And I was like grooving on it.
Can you get rid of this guy? Click, click. See that shit?
You know what? Yeah, I didn't have a real pest problem. Yeah. These guys show up around noon, knock on my door, even with the sign and everything. And they try to sell me services that I could have easily acquired on the internet.
Can you put like bear traps around here or something like that to get the traps?
If you could get up in that tower with a rifle, and if you see the Orkin man coming, no warning shots. Take his knee out immediately if you see him. Dude, I got so
salesman comes by and man. What the?
No, I hear you, but you're stuck. There you are.
Yeah, you're fine. No, I had a
all
fucking
my monitors just went black.
Oh, okay.
That's okay, cool. I'm back now. Anyway, so the guy, I was talking to him, and I don't think I was like overtly rude, but after like the 4th no, I was like, dude, this is a bad time. And I just closed the door and went back to work, and he left. And like, I felt guilty about it, being like, man, that was like, I should have been nicer to that guy. But he was pushing me so much, and like, it was obviously not a good time. Like he could like from my front window. I was like,
he said it's not a good time.
This is really not a good time. This is a bad time right now. And I closed the door in his face.
Taylor, you're not even bad.
After working at Enterprise and getting treated like such dog shit, I feel I'm very sensitive about it.
I didn't want to say this because this has come up a couple weeks in a row. There was a
I'll back you no matter what.
There was a traveling steak salesman that passed not 1, not 2, but 3 no soliciting signs on the way to my front porch. And I had just moved into this house. This is like 6 years ago or something. I was very excited about the lack of solicitors. I thought my driveway, which to me anyway is enormous, right? Like it maybe in the scale of driveways,
it's considerable.
It's a big driveway. Yeah.
We don't get any trick-or-treaters, that's for sure. Yeah. But traveling salesman, I guess we get a couple. So the guy comes up the long freaking driveway, and he wants to sell me steaks out of a cooler. And me today, maybe I listen. But at the time, I was like, no, you're invading my palace. I just moved here. I thought this wasn't going to happen to me anymore. We were, at my last place, like 2 blocks from like the big Mormon place.
Oh, God.
And they were constantly trying to get me to believe in this Mormon shit. like all time. And then if it wasn't the Mormons, it was all like the high school kids. Hey, here's my football team. Here's whatever. And we gave to them, but I didn't like it. Anyway, this guy comes, and I might have said something exactly like, get the fuck out of here.
I was way worse to the Orkin man.
You're not going to take shit for that. That's, and he was 3 no soliciting signs.
Yeah. And the guy was like, what did you say? I looked him in the eye and I said, get the fuck out of here. I was like, you passed 3 no soliciting signs. You know exactly what you did. You completely disregarded our wishes. And now here you are on my front doorstep trying to sell me something. Just go. And like, he didn't want to go because I had made it like a manhood challenge or something.
I'll tell you how to fix that.
There were two of them, and
they were all beefed up on steaks.
They're
protein diet.
Really eating nothing but red meat.
These two mountains barreling towards up my driveway.
But yeah, eventually, like I don't even know how it like I didn't back down, and I guess neither did they. But we managed to just separate, and it's like they're not making a sale here, and I could have handled it. I could have said no.
You could have gotten a gun.
I could have probably, yeah.
But wing one of those guys. I tell you what, he'll tell you wing the steak man. I guarantee he tells the fucking guy with the vinyl siding, the guy with the window tinting.
The
all
vacuum
those other
dude's never coming around.
And guess what? You forget about on your front porch when you get winged. The steaks.
They leave all that behind.
Oh, that's
charcuterie.
You shoot one of them in the knee, and they go to like wheel their thing of steaks with. No. Leave the steak.
Is it worth your life, boy?
No,
and they're like, why are you talking like
the
that?
The Orkin man did the same exact shit to me. And like, I don't like people knocking on my fucking door to begin with. So like I go out there and I'm like, what do you want? You know, like I see his fucking silly hat. You know, he's got that helmet on and shit. Like he's doing some real industrial shit, that Orkin man helmet. And I was like, what do you want? And he tries to shake my hand. I know he's the fucking Orkin man. I'm like, I refuse to shake his hand. And I'm like, I look back at the no soliciting signs and I'm just like, you walk right past all the signs. I was like, they say no soliciting. That means you. That means you. And he's like, yeah. Your neighbors had signs too. But they said they had a lot of pests last spring. And he goes into this like thing about my neighbors and their pest problem.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't give a fuck about their problems. I was like, you need to leave. He's like, what? I was like, you need to leave. And he didn't leave quite quickly enough, I felt. I think it was the same thing Woody's describing. So I did this thing where I went, oh, you don't want to leave? I know how to fix this. And I like darted back into the house like I was going to get something. He fucking ran. I could hear his feet as I was like fake ducking back into the house. He pitter-pattered the fuck out of there. I didn't have anything to grab. Like, there's nothing in there.
You could probably have a cattle prod just for situations like
that. I love the idea of like just to threaten him a little. If it made that. Yeah.
Once you've been told to go, like, okay.
Once you've been told to go, once you've been told to go once, you're trespassing. You know, you saw. I just watched that GIF again, or the whole video, whatever. The guy in Texas who's gets into the confrontation with the guy on his front step. He's like the stepdad, and the real dad has shown up to pick up his kid, and he was supposed to be, but they disagree on that point. The two men, and he's like, "Get the fuck off my porch." And the guy doesn't get off the porch. He goes in and he gets a gun, like a cool gun. It's like a pistol caliber rifle with a suppressor on it.
Sure.
And he's like, get the fuck out of here. And the guy says, I'll take that away from you and kill you with it. You do not want to say that. That is not a threat you want to make.
That's
on
like
camera.
Probably legally what a threat is. Did I tell you guys my that's city utility workers. Me too.
Well, yeah, the plumbers.
Plumbers, those fucking plumbers with their
all
their
of
affirmative actions, and they're like just trying to like dog whistle as plumbers. That'd be funny. Did I tell you I had a bad luck thing with my I had a bunch of trees in my yard removed because they were dying and like rotting, and these people destroyed my yard. It's as though I paid for a tree removal and lawn destruction service. Like so like yeah, and they're the best in the fucking biz, let me tell you. Because they basically in my backyard, I live in a wooded area, tons of trees.
We really focus mostly on the yard destruction.
we focus mostly on ruining your fucking yard.
Is your backyard nice?
My backyard is way less nice than it was after they wrecked it. It's my front yard that I'm pissed about.
The grass. Is it grass or weeds cut to the same height?
No, it was grass. Yeah.
Okay. So
I said was grass. Yeah. So basically it was 6 trees that I needed removed in my backyard. because they were all either dying or rotted or just like looming over my house and making me anxious. And so I figured, just let's rip the Band-Aid off because trees are expensive. All 6 of them down. I'll either have to do
how much
it. Yes, you can, and I'll surprise you with it. All right,
you want me to guess now, or
yes, guess now.
6 trees.
Yep.
Like big trees. Like
the smallest of them were probably that big around.
Did he go? Did he have to go up and climb the trees with a chainsaw?
Oh yeah, on all 6 of them.
Dude, did that cost you $3,000?
Cost me $4,900.
Okay.
That's rough.
And I guess it's more expensive sometimes. Like they charge you more depending on how much it's like how close it is to your house or whatever. It's a couple of them were like right.
It was $800 for me for one. So I was hoping you got the like bulk discount.
that was the bulk discount.
Holy shit, that's the math. $4,800.
Yeah, that was the big, because the guy like, this is the one part that was decent, is when I was calling around about it in my head, I'm like, fuck it, it's gonna be $10,000. And when I called him in December, the dude was like, yeah, nobody gets trees removed in December, so I'm just trying to keep my crews working, because so here, you'll get a super cheap price. And I was like, all right, that works for me. And they come and they start removing the trees. He tells me it's going to be a 1-day process. I'm no genius, but I was even in the moment like, what are you bringing like 50 people to my house to like just like all at once? Like you're like, no, this is going to take longer than that. And so he comes on like a Thursday a few weeks ago, and they start doing their shit. And the next day was obviously Friday. They come back to start again. And all they did the first time was really kind of get set up and like tie stuff around the trees, like to kind of like look at the leverage points and whatnot. Then nothing had started. And that Friday I was leaving town to go to my grandparents. And so as I'm leaving, there's like getting a bunch of work done, like sawing the trees and everything. And I'm already noticing like my yard looks like shit. Like they drove through it with the, so my yard, you know how there's a straight line from the road through your side yard for every house in existence. You know how you could, if you want to walk from the front left portion to the backyard of a house, you would walk straight past the back left side of the house, just straight. If you wanted to walk past the right back side of a house. What they did is they set up their machine and drove across my yard. Their machine started on the left side of my house and then ambled up next to my goddamn mailbox.
And this is like a private company. It's not like from the city or anything like that.
This is supposedly a decent company. Bro. They drove across my entire yard in wet weather. And then I guess they didn't like that route. And in that route, they destroyed a swath 8 feet by the entire length of the entire yard. That's mud destroyed. And then I guess that approach wasn't working because while I was I know. And while I was out of town, I guess they didn't like that route on day 2 for Saturday, because the next day they took it right to the right side of my house and they drove a whole new path through my yard, and they didn't put boards down, and it was wet. And I got home Sunday and I laughed when I saw my house. I went,
as would I.
Because they've destroyed my yard.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Destroyed.
That's a crazy thing
There's
to do.
Let me ask you this.
Let me real quick. When I got back on Sunday, I'm getting back from my grandparents' house. I just wanted to relax and play Age of Empires 2 all day. I'm full of steak. I've got some other steak she sent me home with. I just want to play Age of Empires 2 and get stoned and eat more steak. And I try and log on to the internet. I have no internet. These guys dug so deep into my yard without the board, with the tracks on their machine, that they physically severed my internet line. It didn't unplug it. It didn't misalign it. They drove so deep through my yard, they severed my fucking internet line.
That's fucking crazy.
And
honestly,
these
I would fucking eat their children. Praise be to Allah.
This guy, praise be to Allah. They came back yesterday because the guy told, I knew something was amiss because on the Friday after I left, a lady from the company called me and was like,
something's amiss.
Hey, there's a bunch of stuff with your yard. We're going to take care of it. And I was like at my grandparents. I'm like, okay, so it's even worse than it was when I left. They came back yesterday. The owner or manager of the company he wasn't there yesterday. I wonder fucking why. I wonder why he didn't want to fucking talk to me. And he sends his like goons, the workers, and they throw down some straw haphazardly. And then they come to my front door and he's like wanting me to inspect it and like pay him $5,000. And I was like, I get it. Like, you guys are just doing your job, but this is and I always keep it like calm. Like, I'm not someone to like freak out. And,
you can't.
I'm always very calm about that stuff. And I was like, honestly, like, this is unacceptable. I know all the four of you guys here. If you guys, if you at your home hired someone to remove a tree and they did this to your yard, I can't imagine what you guys would be thinking. And that's what I'm thinking right now. So if you need to tell your boss, I told him, I'm like, I'm not going to give you guys a dime until my yard is returned to the way it was before, because this is absurd. I'm going to be getting fines from my HOA.
No.
Like, do you have any idea how horrid this is?
What you guys Elon Musk is trying to ruin my life.
Oh my God, Elon Musk is trying to ruin my life.
He will fucking kill me.
And so my yard, I can send you a photo after the show. My yard is fucking destroyed, ruined. It took me so long to get grass growing well in my yard because the previous owners treated the yard like shit. And so I had to like reseed so many times, and I took the aerator out
now
there.
Now that I have a house, I understand this.
No, this is years ago when I had to originally get the yard going.
Now that I have a house, like, I understand. I had a water ban this past summer. So we couldn't you couldn't water, you can't use water. And like, so I would stand out there and like literally be like, this is money. The grass is money. I know that now because I bought it. And this is money. And I need to use my sprinklers, but I can't. Yeah. And like my neighbor across the street didn't give a fuck about the water ban. And I did sit there like looking through the blinds and I was like, if I was a little bit angrier with my life, I would snitch on you. I understand why some neighbors do shit like that. I'm like looking out the window. I'm like, he's not allowed to be watering the lawn right now.
Dude, why don't you doing it? Why don't what would they do if you just had a tank of water? And if anyone asked, you'd be like, oh no, that's from that tank of water. Well, where do you get the water that goes in there? No, I truck that in.
It's rainwater.
That's rainwater.
Do that. I understand. This is like an advanced lie. Like I understand. I kind of like that strategy.
You don't use that water to water your lawn.
No, I understand. I understand.
You just have a tank of water. That's always
like I have a tank of water.
Full.
No, like
evaporational. Like
no, you're right. But you know what you're right about is that you could pay like if you were like really didn't give a fuck about money, you could pay to have a water company come and literally do it because they're allowed because they're bringing water from elsewhere. Water is heavy, all that. But if I paid, instead of paying that, if I just paid a truck to come by every day and refill my water, and it was like just my buddy in a truck.
That's what my company does. We have a water truck that's fucking empty. Right? We drive it around and charge you half of what the actual water truck costs. We don't do fuck all, and then you just hook your hose up to your spigot and let her have it.
You know, I'm going to take my Lysol and spray down the box. I have not done that in weeks because just the prospect of doing it is like, this is such a pain in the ass.
I feel like the pandemic hasn't ended. I just stopped caring.
Yeah, it's just
a lot of people stopped caring, and it's frightening. So a fucking bug man came to my house today, a pest person, like not even they just walk the neighborhoods, and like I happened to be getting my groceries off my front step when he showed up. He looked just like Fwiz, and for some reason that was a look that really infuriated me. I was already like pissed off, like and I'm like getting my groceries. Not about some just other stuff. I was angry. I was angry picking up my groceries, and he's just like, "Hey, got some groceries, eh?" And I'm just like, "All right, now I'm angry."
Right? Yeah, now I'm angry.
He said, "Got some groceries, eh?"
That's not a thing to say.
He. I'll tell you who he also.
Stars.
Remember in the movie Office Space, the guy who is talking to the main character about his girlfriend, like, hey, make sure you wear rubber.
Yeah.
She gets around. And he's like, really? Like who? He's like, Lumberg fucked her. And he's got that like blonde spiky hair. That guy fucked Fwiz, and they made a child who came to my house today to try to sell me pest control. And he was just like, hey, I'm the bug man. He said that. after the groceries comment, and I'm at like an 8 out of 10 furious, and I'm just getting the groceries, and he's like, I'm all good. I don't need anything. And I'm just like walking back in. He's like, who's taking care of you? And I just close the door and he laughs. I open the door back up and I'm just like, what's so funny? People don't like being bothered in the middle of the fucking day. Get off my fucking yard. And he's just like, whoa, buddy, have a good one. And I'm just like, oh, I was so angry putting the groceries away. I was so angry.
You would have caught me a year and a half ago.
You'd be limping back to that Hyundai that's I'm sure is parked around the block.
Yeah, yeah, that
fucking bug man.
You consolidated your grocery delivery and your exterminator? Is that what
No, I didn't order a goddamn exterminator. He's going door to door.
I had someone do that the other day too. I had a guy knock when I was in the middle of a call and being like, hey, I'm covering my buddy's thing. And I was like, yeah, what are you doing? Are you giving me a bill? Because I was getting a bill from a lawn service I was expecting. And he's like, no, I'm here to do a bug thing. And I'm like, I'm in the middle of a call, man. That's really not helpful. And he's like, okay, no problem. Let me just show you this. And I'm like, give me a card. And he's like, ooh, bad news. I'm covering my friend, so I don't have his card. And I was like, all right, well, then just have a great day, man. He's like, just 2 seconds of your time. And I was like, no, I'm missing a call. My computer's here. Someone could be asking me a question. I'm looking like a real fucking asshole right now if I'm not answering. And then they're going to start to suspect every time my camera's mute or my mic's muted, I'm not paying attention, which is not true. And and he has the gall. He's like, all right, let me just, I'll pop back around at night. Is that okay? And I was like, no, it's not. I'd rather you didn't come back tonight. And this was literally last Thursday. Because I wasn't about to tell him, because I didn't even tell him, no, I'm going to be on a call from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. tonight, because no one would believe that. But it was like, no, just don't come back, sir. Please don't. So, yeah, the bug people are out in full force.
This is the second bug man who's shown up. The last bug man showed up while we were doing either PKN or PKA, and it was the second time he'd come by. I was busy the first time. I was like, hey, I'm busy. And he left. And then he came back while we were doing the show. And I like got scared because the doorbell rang. Maybe it's my probation officer coming to like do a home inspection or something like that. It's a very stressful thing. Mm-hmm. I'm always scared when the doorbell rings because those are stressful as fuck. Because you got to go through your house with an adult like you're a child, like making sure you don't have a bomb making like
what's
factory.
This waste can of tissues? I'm sad.
So you're right. Interested in the bug man because you don't seem to have a bug problem. If I ran a bug business, don't you think a little extortion would be a good idea? Like, hey, you know what, Taylor? I got a proposition for you. It could either be $150 a quarter to me, or this carton of bed bugs dropped in your front yard.
I have in this box 100,000 hissing cockroaches. They are from Madagascar.
These are the ones that didn't get eaten on Fear Factor, and they're pissed. He comes like, I'm the bug man. I'm like, all right, just let me
150 a quarter.
Let me show you the paperwork. Let me come inside your house just real quick. You get in there and you're like, uh-oh, you hear that? Pocket roaches! You get a roach, and you get a roach. And then suddenly the police are called, and they can't prove that you brought... Ma'am, are you trying to tell me this gentleman came into your home? I'll add that I was invited. You're trying to tell me that you invited this con man into your home, and then he began to, and I quote, throw bugs from his pockets all over the house. Man, this is absurd. I'm getting you filing a false police report. And I'm like, no. Ted, we can work this out another way. How about you just buy the bug thing? And then that's when they realize that it's my brother, the cop. And we run a whole racket. And then we end up in jail. And then we're on 60 days in and we have to make up better paperwork so we don't get pulled.
Dude, I watched 60 Days In with you. Was that last night? I think it was last night.
That was last night. Yeah. I was expecting to watch that show. I'd never seen an episode before. And I was like, usually when I do gaming, I like to play for at least 4 hours. And I don't think I'll be on that long tonight. So I'm just going to watch 60 Days In.
You think I can get into any trouble for like shooting solicitors with like a water gun?
No. A water gun?
Like what if I had like the most pimp super soaker that they make? And then the next time one of these like Orkin men or like vinyl siding salesman guys like knocks on my door, even though there's multiple signs saying keep out. Like can I just like hit them with the super soaker, start soaking them down?
I bet you could.
Then like laugh and go back inside. Like, can they do anything? Is there any recourse for them?
Is that counted as like assault, spraying someone with a water gun?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
Oh, well, then I'm not the one to ask.
I could get in one of my second floor windows, and it's got a good like perch, if you will, very Lee Harvey Oswald-ish, right above the doorway.
You could put you know what you could do up there? You have a potted plant up there. It's just trying to get some sun. You're just trying to give it some sun. If it were to fall out at an inopportune time, I don't think anyone could say that was intentional.
Oh, we're not going to all that, but like give them a good soaking. I think
a water balloon. I don't know. You don't want to shatter ceramic over their head on your front porch.
No, probably not. I mean, I do. I just think that you're really risking, some sort of legal action. Then I'm just wondering if you can get any trouble for shooting somebody with a water gun.
I don't think so. You'd have to be a real bitch to make like an assault charge about a water gun thing.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna buy a super soaker then, and next time that they knock, I'm going to literally do what I just described and go up to the second floor and hit them with a super soaker. And that's going to be the time when it's actually someone who needs me, and it's not the Orkin man. I hate
You're just soaked kitty down there.
Yeah, just shoot her in the ear. No, I hate the fucking Orkin man. I've got so many signs outside that say like keep out and like no soliciting and stay off and get the fuck away. And he's just like ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. Hey,
what a bitch! What an asshole!
That's what are you doing here? Like I was like, there's signs.
I do have a pest problem. The Orkin man keeps bothering me. He's pestering me. Can you take care of him?
I've got the last Orkin guy's still in the basement. Can you take care of that? Can you kill him and drag his body out?
I was like I refused to shake his hand right away, and then I was and he just like kept holding out there, and I was just like, no. I was like, what do you want? What do you want? I have to ask him like 3 times because he's trying to like go through like introductions, and I'm like, you've rang the doorbell at like noon. Like, what the fuck do you want? He's like,
pretend to be deaf, man.
I'm like, do you not see the signs? They say keep away. And he's like, yeah, your neighbor has those too, but I talked to them and they've got a huge pest problem over there. And they said, I'm like, I don't care if they've got pests. I don't care. Like I don't, and I really don't. Like, I don't have any fucking pests.
I don't blame you. That is.
I was thinking of getting one of those signs that says like "Baby sleeping, don't ring doorbell." Just don't ring the doorbell. Maybe I'll disable it.
Yeah, I would like that too. Every time I get delivery, I put in the notes, "Please don't ring the doorbell," and often they do. And it's like
dogs, right?
Yeah, because my dogs are little babies, and they
go
think
into
everyone
panic mode. And
they think it's a dire threat to their immediate safety every time someone comes to the door.
I've got those. I've got LEDs throughout the house that are kind of hooked up through like an Alexa system. I wonder if I could make the doorbell like just pulsate all my LEDs, like to let me know someone's at the door. I don't want a fucking ding dong anymore. It scares me.
You should get can you just like open it up and snip the wire?
I'm sure I could silence it. I mean, I could bash it, and it would.
just bash it.
Have you ever done that to like a chirpy smoke detector in the night? Like you've just had enough. It's cheap. Like every 25 seconds it goes off, and you don't have any batteries, and there's no way to like it's plugged into the ceiling for some reason. At my last house, I literally smashed it. I smashed it apart, and I was like, I hope the buyers don't mind that this. They didn't give a shit. They didn't give a shit that I was like, oh, and there's no smoke detector here, and they're like,
who cares?
I couldn't take it. I was so fucking angry at that goddamn chirping. It's like the episode of It's Always Sunny when they move out of the suburbs.
I've been hearing it the entire goddamn time. Yeah, it's a good episode. There was this contractor. I think his name was like Matt or something, but it was when I was maybe in middle school. I was like 12, 13, and my parents hired this guy to do something in our kitchen. And like all contractors, he took forever to do nothing, and he was an asshole. He was the worst kind of asshole. He was like over the top religious, like always inviting us to things, talking about how important it was to go to church, and then it would be like, oh, but I guess keeping your word is like one of the chapters, one of the many. You know how often in the Bible they say like don't lie, don't cheat people. I guess you skipped all those, Matt. And there was one time I had a buddy of mine, Sean, over, and we were hanging out in the basement, and then he's like, let's go outside and play basketball. He was very, very good. This kid was unbelievably good at basketball. And so I'm like, okay, I'll go shoot hoops with you. You're just going to humiliate me because I sucked. And we went out there and we started playing, and then we come back in, grab some water, and this guy is pretending to work in the kitchen, and he goes, what are you guys doing? We're like, oh, we're just playing basketball. And he's like, I played in high school a little bit. We're not going to ask you a follow-up. We're 13. We don't give a fuck, you weirdo. I'm going to come out and shoot some hoops with you. Really? If my parents were home, they probably wouldn't like that. But okay, you're an adult and I'm 13, so I can't really stop you. He comes out there, and very quickly, the game of horse becomes me totally not involved, and he is hardcore 1v1ing my friend aggressively, like moving picks. At one point, like my friend was beating him handily, and this like 38-year-old.
Okay,
he was a big 13-year-old, and he was genuine. He was. I can't oversell how good he was. Like, he was playing for teams like that traveled with kids 3 years older than him, like unbelievably good. And so this asshole comes out there and thinks he's going to impress us, and he's just getting crossed over, looking like a fool. And my buddy was like going back to like take a long shot, and he gets body checked by this almost 40-year-old contractor. And I remember, I can still see it. My buddy's just like falling back onto the asphalt and just looking up like, I don't know. This is a new scenario I'm in right now. An adult I don't know just body checked me in what's supposed to be a friendly game of basketball. And I remember both of us were just like, yeah, we're going to go play Pokemon Snap, I guess, like, or whatever the hell it was. Like, yeah, that guy fucking sucked. I think they ended up firing him because he just, he was so on his hands and knees for God that he couldn't, get the countertop.
Turns out, same contractor as Woody's, also a time traveler. That's why he's always late. He's a time traveler.
Yeah, he's trying to beat up.
He's off going back to like beat up Taylor's friends.
I meant installing that hoop wasn't even part of the quote, but there it is.
Wait, you installed a hoop at a house in Missouri in 2001?
No, I would say he gave me one. But anyway, overtop religion is one of my biggest frustrations. I feel like it's sometimes used as a shield or a technique to be an asshole, right?
Right.
If you
won't tolerate that.
If you mention like how much you love God in your voicemail message before I leave mine, if that makes like in your greeting, then like you're just using it as a manipulation tactic, you dick.
Right.
A lot of people do that. I give people the benefit of the doubt. Some people are that religious, and they think by putting like in Christ at the end of their email that it's somehow helpful. But yeah, lots of people. And I like the way you said when they lead with it, it's absolutely a manipulation tactic. I worked with someone, never directly, and this was probably 6 years ago at this point, but he was a guy in advertising that I knew, and never directly, but tangentially worked with, and he would lie just the most shameless, over-the-top lies. Like, he was working with a client who was super religious. Like, they were, they own a product, they manufacture it, they sell it in retail, and they're over the top religious. And this guy doesn't give a fuck about religion. He's like one of those like, big brain Richard Dawkins atheists. Like, but have you considered it's not real? It's like, shut up, bitch. Like, yeah, we've all considered it. And it's just it's the fucking worst dealing with people who abuse religion like that. And I can think of so many teachers, because I went to private like religious school, where I've said this before. My fucking my study hall teacher, like, you need to be looked over. I remember once I came in late while she was leading like morning prayer, and then like I came in and sat down, and she's like eyes closed doing her like. And it says that in the Bible, when you pray, do it in private. Don't do it out in public like the Pharisees and Sadducees do. It's supposed to be something between you and God. So fuck you, Miss Bitch. And then I came in and I sat down, and her eyes were closed, and she opened them, and she's like, Taylor, the Holy Spirit told me you came in late. And it's like, are you sure you didn't open your eyes and see me? Like, are you sure that's not what told you? And I learned how to flip it on her. Ooh. Because basically she would take a 50-minute study hall, and this was first hour. And so often, like as a senior year, I would put it off, all my homework, until the morning of, and then just sprint through it. And there was one time and she would take 20 minutes of the 50-minute period just giving out Bible verses. And if you tried to do homework while she was doing it, she would be like, now the Holy Spirit's telling me that you need to be paying attention. And I remember once I got in and I was doing this math assignment that I had blown off, and it was taking way longer. And so I'm just nose to the grindstone right away, doing my fucking trig or whatever it was. And she was like, Taylor, do you think it's appropriate to be doing work while we're discussing the Lord? And I was like, Miss Denon, I know in the Bible how much it says that when you do things, you're supposed to do them to the glory of God, to the best of your ability. And if I don't spend this entire period doing that, then I'm not really glorifying God in my work, am I? And it was like a Magic the Gathering combo where it's like, we're both pretending and I won. Ha ha! She was like, if you think that's what the Lord's telling you to do. And I was like, Ms. Denon, I
Definitely.
do. I do.
Definitely. I'm feeling it.
Yeah. Stupid bitch. You sucked and you were weird. She didn't do anything but waste people's times in study hall. That's all. That was her only job. It wasn't even like the football coach who was bad at math and did math teaching also.
Right.
She didn't do anything. Just a study hall lady. I don't know what she was there for. No idea.
I feel like it's a mix between like people being like manipulative with religion or just being like so brainwashed that that's like the only thing they can hold on to. Like morally, they're like, I have to have something because I can't actually make my own choices.
Yeah, I don't deal with people with imaginary friends.
You have to. Most people are religious.
Most people pretend they are. Most people pretend they are, like to the extent where it's like, I don't know, you put your seatbelt on. Do you really believe you're going to get in an accident today? No. If I asked you, hey, are you going to get in an accident today? Do you believe that? Nah, but you're still going to wear a seatbelt, aren't you? Yeah, that's how most people are religious.
Think so.
That's a really good analogy.
Do you believe in God? Nah. You're still going to pray to him occasionally, though, just in case, though, right?
When you're dying.
Oh, yeah. Prayer is my seatbelt.
Being religious sounds better. Like, I wish that, like, I woke up every morning and was like, when this shit show of a life is over, I get to go and be in heaven eternally. Like, and that would be a great thing to just wholly believe. Like, you would be so much happier. You have something to look forward to at the end of life. Like, a few days ago, like, I haven't even been able to work out this week because of this fucking weather. I had a pretty severe pipe burst in my basement and flooded my whole basement. Bunch of fucking disaster. It's gonna be a good bit of time to fix and everything. The last couple days, people have been tearing stuff out and carrying it. Everybody was removing a bunch of drywall. They removed an entire ceiling from a room like down there, and like they plugged in like 12 industrial strength dehumidifiers. And like, even in my head, I am not an electrician. Like, I walked down there and saw, and I'm like, this is dangerous. Like, there should not be like 9 of these to an outlet. And like, maybe with like, as I'm thinking that, it bursts a circuit and shuts down. They've just left. And so then I have to go, and I don't know anything about that. And I'm fucking around with the breakers and like trying to run cords and stuff down there. I have to leave those right. It sounds like an airplane's taking off underneath me right now. It is so goddamn.
They're running right now.
They're running right now. They have to run
2 days.
It's been 2 days. A guy came out and checked today and was like, the moisture meter's way too high. We got to keep them running. And so it'll be like 72 hours at the time tomorrow they come to check. It is so fucking loud in my house. It is 12 of these. And the way it is, my stairs just go down into the couple basement rooms I have. And I can't close those doors. I have to leave them open for some air circulation thing.
Can I interrupt you? Did we set this up, or am I crazy? Do people know that a pipe burst in your basement 2 days ago? Did we say that out loud?
I said that to begin. Yeah, that it burst. Basically, the guy just showed me a picture of the pipe and was like, here's the problem. And it was like a pipe totally shorn in two, just pouring stuff. And so I think it had only been going for a couple hours when I caught it, thank God. But a couple hours is horrible because it's enough time to ruin everything.
It's a couple thousand gallons at that point. Like
oh yeah,
I've dealt with this so many times. Like on my dad's farm, like
it's been stressing me out, dude. I'm sorry.
On my dad's farm in those poultry houses, there's like, I don't want to exaggerate, so let me quickly do the math in my head. It's 5, 10, 15, 20 times 6, 500, 2,000, 6 times 2,000 is 12,000.
Everyone's being very respectful.
It's 2.5 miles of PVC. Okay? There's 2.5 miles of indoor PVC.
Okay.
And a lot of it is CPVC. And I'm not going to get into the details of the difference, but it gets brittle over time. And so, like, that shit will just, like, snap and break. And there's always, like, strangers in there working who are, like, rough with your equipment. That are higher, I won't go into it, but there's people in there fucking working who don't give a fuck if they break something, and you never know if they've cracked a thing, and it's just almost about to fall apart, and then like 3 weeks later, pop. And so many floods I've seen indoors, like
this is the first
10,000 gallons.
And it sucks that it was in my fucking house, but like it like just by happenstance at like 2 p.m. I happened to be like, oh, I'm gonna check downstairs if I have something. And I went down there and I'm in my unfinished area. I open it and there's just water fucking all over the place. Not covered because it's a very, very large unfinished area, but it's like there's enough water in the lower leveling parts that I could go splash around like if I wanted to. And like, you know, where like you kick a really deep puddle and like you feel the amount of inertia of the water you're moving, and it's spilling over the sides of your boot too. Like it's that kind of not good. And I'm like, well, this is bad news. And so I go to the finished part of my basement and I'm like, hopefully, you know, the finished part that has, you know, drywall and fucking my TV, my pool table, my sectional, all my shit, maybe that's okay. And I walk in and it's like, have you ever seen the movie like The Money Trap? Where like it looked like there was water pouring out of all the light fixtures. There was a center area where like the vent was to like heat it, and like just one of the pouring out of that. And I just was like, oh, sprinted, turn around, turn the water off. Run upstairs, grab a bunch of buckets, start putting it under all of these light fixtures. I call around to 5 or 6 different plumbing emergency companies. It's -4 degrees in St. Louis at the time. And so every one of them is like, yeah, we don't have any plumbers. Everybody's doing exactly what you're calling to do. Eventually I get through to someone. They come out and start getting moving. But like it was, it's going to take so much fucking time for them to fix all this shit. Just a pain in the ass.
So at least you have insurance, though. Can you imagine if this weren't insured? Because I don't know if they've given you an estimate, but I just based on what you've described, I think you've got like $15,000 to $20,000 for the damages.
I would guess at least like probably around 15.
I want a Twitch donation goal where you're willing to walk downstairs and show off the damage. You should do that for $1,000. For $1,000, I will go downstairs with my laptop and I will show everything.
Someone would like be like, using the floor plan of his house, here's his address. So,
exactly. Right. Yeah.
That is a risk.
So the way I would infiltrate Taylor's home for murder is
all right. Yeah. I do see the flaws in these.
You can see here, once you get him in this pool room, there's no escape.
There's no escape. One way in, one way out. Classic flaw.
It would go towards the deductible though.
I had never seen like that level of damage so fast. Where like it felt like the time from me turning off the water, running upstairs, grabbing the buckets, and then coming back down, like pieces of the ceiling, it just started like just bowing out at the areas where they put the drywall together or the ceiling together, whatever. So fucking pain in the ass.
You've said that your house is very loud, and in my head, all the humidifiers are in the basement. Am I right?
Yeah. So I live in a ranch style house, so like large upper floor and then basement. There's not 2 stories, and so like
over on Wilkes Street.
Yeah, on Wilkes Street. In St. Louis. And so basically like my living room, you come into my house, it's an open like field to it, and you go down the stairs and immediately left you're in my finished area, right you're in my gym, unfinished area where I have my hockey shooting stuff. Now because it's just an open stairway down there and both those doors have to be open, and in each of those rooms there's 6 industrial sized dehumidifiers, I can hear it right now. I can hear the thrull, right now through the wall, through the doors, down the stairs. I was sitting with my ex-girlfriend on the couch last night trying to watch
I love
something.
that.
Yeah, we were trying to watch something, and she was like, I can't handle this. It is so loud in here. And something else that it did, it's dehumidifying the whole house. So I got a nosebleed this morning.
Wow.
It's so dry in here. And it's still not doing anything. All my carpet was destroyed. There was one area of my carpet that like matched my stairs. And I was like, do you think we'll be able to save this like bottom patch so I don't have to try and match carpet? And the guy's like, I'll do my best, bro. And then the guy came out today and I asked him about it and was like, I don't know who told you this was salvageable. Probably the guy who comes on day 1 and gets your hopes up. I'm day 2 guy. I'm real deal guy.
That was high hopes Harry. He probably told you weren't going to need new walls too, didn't he?
I had like a big St. Louis Blues fat head that I put up 2 weeks ago that my dad got me for Christmas. Like, I'll finally put that up by the pool table. And like the guy was like cutting out all the pieces of drywall and he like leaves that up there. And he's like, we'll see if we can salvage this. And I'm like, what are you? It's done. It's done.
What is a fat head?
Like, So it's like a big like St. Louis Blues logo that sticks there on the wall, or you can get them of different sports teams. They look nice.
Every sports team.
It's a big sticker you put on a wall.
Big giant sticker. That goes on the wall. Usually in like
super popular. Yeah,
very popular. And just the way this guy was like sawing around it. And it's like, dude, first of all, I'm pretty sure if I have to peel this off, I have to throw it away anyway. Second of all, that fathead is not going to provide the structural support needed to keep this wall in place. Like, just
I
have the side of ripping it all out and replace it is what I say.
I have this thing, Taylor. Like, my welder has a very loud sound to it. I bet it's not too far from the humidifier, and it just increases my stress level. Like everything about it running makes me like, anxiety is not the right term, but it's just, it weighs on me. I hate it. And the second I flip that switch off, it's like,
it's relaxation.
Yeah. Does that are those humidifiers doing that to you?
They're stressing me out, man.
Yeah.
They are so goddamn loud. I could hear them when I was trying to sleep last night. It is. It's like it's like the sound of a jet beginning to turn on. Just down there. I can fucking hear it. And I'm going to go out and try and watch an episode of The Expanse after this. And I won't be able to focus because I'll be annoyed. And then I'll overeat.
I had the exact same thing happen. My basement flooded, and the all of the flooring had to be ripped up. It was like I don't even remember how much the flooring cost to begin with, but it was hardwood flooring. It was, if you watch the boot camp I did with Wings, that hardwood floor that he's being like pulled, he's pulling Jeremy across, like that all had to be taken up, and that hardwood was glued down to concrete. So like these two guys had to run like these giant like scrapers to like get under it and then prise it up. And every time they prise, the boards would just splinter into all these. They wouldn't come up in like even sheets because like they were so glued down. They were just splintering up. It was thousands of dollars just to get that done, and then running the dehumidifier for a long time, like a whole week. And I'd go down there like every couple of hours and dump out 3 or 4 gallons of water. It was just shocking how fast it was pulling moisture out of the air.
Yeah, well, I believe they're drying it out, but like even like the area of carpet, it's dried out. Now it's just like crispy and rotten.
Yeah,
like,
it's ruined.
It's destroyed.
So do you have an ETA on how much longer they're going to run?
The guy who came out today was like, we're going to run it at least until tomorrow afternoon. And
that's not forever. Like that.
No, at that point it'll just be like 3 straight days of it, which is annoying. But
so Woody mentioned how like the noise of his welder was like this added stress where once it's off, it's like, now it's peaceful times. Are there any noises like that for you that it's like, I really like having that turned on? That's
I like the fan when I'm trying to sleep. Yeah.
I like a fan.
You know what? I had I thought I was going crazy. At one point I moved from Hollywood, which was just noise all the time, like helicopters while you're trying to sleep, neighbors screaming, beating the hell out of each other, throwing their belongings down the stairs, down the stairwell. So I was used to it. And then I moved out here into the suburbs, into the country, and it was a huge adjustment getting used to listening to the blood like go around in your skull while you're trying to sleep. Like that was what was keeping me up at night. Then I finally got used to it, and then one day I just started hearing this high pitched like ee sound, and I thought it was tinnitus because I've always dealt with that a little bit. It will come and go. It's always the same key. I got it from playing music all my life, like just being really close to the piano, shredding your eardrums, whatever. Like I know how I got it. And I thought it was that forever. And I thought, okay, well, I just have tinnitus now, and I'm going to kill myself in a couple of years. Like, no problem. I hope to see some enemies die before then, but if not, no big deal. I deserve it. And then one day, like after weeks of this, I just snapped and started tearing out everything, every electronic thing in my house. TVs, speakers, everything, phone. I'm prying like things open to pull the batteries out of it. And I get through.
Can I guess?
Get halfway through the kit. Go ahead.
Was it a charging device?
Bro, it was an electric kettle. It was an electric for tea that I don't drink. My girlfriend drinks. I don't drink it. It was an electric kettle that it wasn't even on. It was just plugged in, wedged behind my popcorn maker. I don't know why it was permanently plugged in for her sleepy time tea that she got to help me sleep. I unplugged it. And it felt like in that moment when I unplugged it, it felt like the Big Bang was happening in my brain. Like there was absolutely nothing. There was like oh my God, it's gone. That one, and still to this day, she'll leave it plugged in, and I'll feel myself start going a little bit insane, like getting a little bit of twitching. I'm like, no, it's the water, it's the kettle. I don't get up, walk over there. As the closer I get, sure enough, like it's finding this sound. It's so hard to explain how impossible it was to locate.
Does she not notice it? She
no.
Can't hear?
No, so every time I talked about it, she's like, I don't hear anything. I'm like, no, you don't. I don't know if and it hurt. It hurt my ear a little bit because I assume because of the tinnitus damage, it would always make me go I can't. And I don't know about you guys, but I can hear that frequency that they play out front of 7-Eleven to get kids to stop hanging around there. Do you know that frequency? Yeah. I can, when it's going, I feel sick. And it was it was like I built in that thing that makes kids sick in my house. It was the best feeling. They can wake 7 a.m., start running the bandsaws next door, build that balcony. Yeah, don't care. I'll just tune it out. But that for weeks, it was maddening. It was my telltale heart, but it's gone now. And I kept the kettle for some reason. I don't know why I even kept it. I should have just thrown it away. It's like $15 on Amazon. I don't know why I did this.
This is the rant of a man who is not on the verge of a proposal.
Yeah.
Oh, what? yeah.
Maybe some of that sleepy time tea could do you good.
That's a good line. I like it.
Well, you just added one more year onto the dating with that one.
Dick, I have a musician question. So I have seen musicians, even super famous musicians, wear hearing protection while they play music. But when I wear hearing protection, it doesn't do all what I'll call the notes, of my life at the same rate. Maybe it's a little better at killing bass or a little better at killing treble. Does wearing hearing protection mess you up as a musician?
You can buy special hearing protection that's supposed to dampen out everything equally. They're custom made ear protection. The expensive guys, the famous guys will do that. They're custom made. I think they're electric. I don't know. I've never used them. For me, my right ear is just destroyed. My left ear is okay, but because the right ear is next to all the high keys, so they're just it's just ruined. But I hear good things about the special custom ear protection.
How expensive is expensive? Is it